one of the things that I've heard from some of the Democratic members of the committee today is an extraordinary amount of projection wherein they suggest that Republican members of the committee are trying to shut down free speech by trying to get answers to questions about the kind of political pressures that are being put on social media companies, for example.
We're diving into this absolutely scorching exchange between Congressman Matt Gaetz and Ben Shapiro, where they tag team one of the most quietly powerful forces in American life: corporate censorship.
I guess, Mr. Shapiro, when we look at these big advertising platforms and they're hearing the people with the advertising dollars hammer them with this ideological tilt, what does that do to the marketplace for ideas?
Obviously, it shuts down the marketplace of ideas, which is largely the intent. And one of the things that I've heard from some of the Democratic members of the committee today is an extraordinary amount of projection wherein they suggest that Republican members of the committee are trying to shut down free speech by trying to get answers to questions about the kind of political pressures that are being put on social media companies, for example. But it's been Democrats who, for years, have been spending their time trying to pressure social media companies into doing their bidding by limiting the types of information that are available to the public and how that information is actually distributed. One of the things that's worth noting here is that it's not just a matter of advertising dollars flowing. The way that it works on social media is that if you are demonetized, then the reach of your actual content is also limited by the same social media companies.
Do you think the frequency of those demonetization rises when you have vice presidents of companies at Unilever trying to hammer entities like Facebook into taking down Trump ads?
Absolutely. Absolutely. There's no question that when you have internal pressures put on social media companies to take down right-wing material, that has an impact on the reach of right-wing messaging. There's just no question.
And I guess I don't mind when Democrats say they don't like conservative speech, or we get to say we don't like some of their speech. That's how this works. But it's when the business community colludes and utilizes market power to shape the way social media companies or websites disseminate information, that the public doesn't even get to see that debate and engage it. And I think the fact that it's clandestine is actually even more corrosive to the values that undergird.
That's absolutely true. The complete lack of transparency with which GARM treats both the member companies as well as the consuming public is one of the major problems. If they simply wish to levy a boycott against a right-wing source, they should simply say that's what they're doing. Hiding behind fake standards in order to project objectivity is a major problem in transparency for the market.
Gaetz throws the baton to Ben Shapiro, and Ben is like a surgeon with a scalpel, cutting right to the core. He points out exactly what we all see. For years, Democrats have aggressively pressured social media companies to censor, downrank, demonetize, and deplatform anything right-wing. They frame it as protecting democracy, but really it's protecting their narrative monopoly. And when Shapiro talks about projection, oh man, he nails it. Democrats accuse Republicans of silencing speech, but they're the ones actually doing the silencing, behind closed doors with massive corporate leverage. Shapiro explains how demonetization directly impacts reach. If big tech pulls your money, they pull your visibility. If corporations call you unsafe, the algorithm buries you 6 feet under. And Gaetz follows up beautifully, saying the real danger isn't even the censorship itself. It's the fact that it's clandestine, hidden, backroom, unaccountable. Shapiro agrees, pointing out the hypocrisy of using fake, neutral standards as a moral shield while pushing ideological boycotts. Let's get real here. This isn't just about Unilever. It's not even just about Facebook. This is about a machine, a synchronized ecosystem, where political, cultural, and corporate elites use their influence to push one ideological lens onto the entire country. If you're left-wing, your content is amplified, supported, brand safe. If you're right-wing, suddenly you're dangerous, unfit for monetization, or violating community guidelines. This is how speech dies in modern America, not through government bans, but through corporate collusion dressed up as safety. And that's exactly what Gaetz and Shapiro were exposing. You could see the discomfort on the executive's face. They don't want the public to know this stuff. They don't want transparency. Because sunlight breaks the system. Here's the truth, guys. We're living in a time when market power is political power. When the CEOs of multinational corporations can silence millions with a single call to a tech platform. When speech isn't just judged, it's algorithmically executed. Geets and Shapiro weren't just grilling some executive. They were pulling back the curtain on a system that's quietly reorganizing free speech around ideological loyalty. If we don't push back, if we don't call this stuff out, if we don't demand transparency, then we wake up one day and realize free speech isn't a right anymore. It's a privilege granted by corporations who don't even admit what they're doing. Because the scariest censorship is the censorship that pretends it isn't happening. If you want more breakdowns like this, real talk, no corporate filter, no leftist pressure, then hit that like button, subscribe, and share this video with someone who still believes big tech is politically neutral. And drop a comment below. Do you think corporate censorship is the biggest threat to free speech today? Let's keep the conversation alive, because that's exactly what they're trying to stop. See you in the next one.